Have you ever wondered what sets successful people apart? It's not luck, and it's not innate talent. Behind every billionaire, there's a set of life rules they follow every single day, habits that have transformed their lives. But here's the intriguing part. You can apply them too, starting today. Imagine if you could adopt these habits and completely change the course of your life. Are you ready to leave behind complacency and reach for unlimited success? If you want to uncover the secrets of those who achieve the impossible, keep watching this video and begin your journey of transformation right now.
Learn to optimize with ruthless prioritization became a turning point for many. Have you ever felt your day pass by, leaving you tired without any real progress? Many used to experience this, busy with endless to-do lists, yet by day's end, their goals remained distant. They once mistakenly believed success meant doing more, but reality proved otherwise. Things only began to shift when they embraced ruthless prioritization as a core strategy. The story of Jeff Bezos, the architect of Amazon, often comes to mind. He famously said that his daily requirement was just 3 key decisions, but they had to be the right ones. This statement resonated deeply with many, revealing that reaching the highest levels of success doesn't necessitate doing everything, but rather focusing on what truly counts. The missing element wasn't a lack of effort, but the ability to select the right priorities. Success isn't measured by how busy one is, but by where focus is directed. Those who make a significant impact aren't necessarily the most active. They are the ones who master the art of saying no to the irrelevant. Initially, some prided themselves on multitasking, only to realize they were diluting their attention and energy on trivial matters. This led to the discovery of the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, which posits that 80% of results stem from just 20% of efforts, with the remainder being noise. Initially a theory, many decided to test its validity by tracking their weekly activities and assessing their actual impact. The results were eye-opening. The majority of their seemingly important tasks contributed minimally to progress. Only a few strategic, focused actions truly drove results. The realization dawned that without selective prioritization, they would remain trapped in a cycle of unproductive activity. From that day forward, a simple yet powerful habit was adopted. Each morning, identifying the 3 most crucial tasks for the day, no more. These were the tasks that, upon completion, would lend genuine meaning to the day. They were chosen deliberately, based on impact rather than fleeting emotions. Subsequently, all potential distractions were eliminated. Phone notifications were silenced, unnecessary computer tabs closed, and if needed, the phone was placed in another room, creating a dedicated focus zone where only the top 3 priorities were allowed. Elon Musk, the driving force behind Tesla, SpaceX, and X, inspired many with his time-blocking method, dividing his day into specific time slots for specific tasks. This approach allows him to maintain precise control even with an incredibly demanding schedule. Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, also employs a guiding question for every decision. Does this move the company forward? A negative answer results in immediate dismissal, without hesitation. This decisiveness was instrumental in Apple's transformation from near crisis to becoming the world's most valuable company. Following suit, many began to ask themselves, when faced with a choice, does this align with my goals? If not, they would gently but firmly let it go. Maintaining this discipline daily is not always easy. Old habits sometimes resurface, the temptation to tackle the easy, feel-good tasks for quick wins. However, the ability to choose the more impactful, albeit challenging tasks gradually developed. The understanding grew that true freedom comes not from doing less or more, but from doing the right things. Over time and with persistence, tangible changes emerged. The work accomplished wasn't just greater in volume, but also deeper and more valuable. The feeling of being passively swept along by tasks gave way to a sense of control, with a clear understanding of purpose. And the greatest reward? More time became available for family, for personal pursuits, for learning, an activity previously sidelined due to perceived busyness. As Warren Buffett wisely stated, the difference between successful people and extremely successful people is extremely successful people say no to almost everything. It took years for many to fully grasp and implement this lesson. But for those listening now, that journey can be shortened by starting today. Choose the 3 most important tasks each morning, eliminate the rest, and persist daily. Because a truly extraordinary life cannot afford to be diluted by trivialities.
And as the power of prioritizing what truly mattered became clear, another realization dawned: the importance of maintaining a sharp mind, clear thinking, and a continuously evolving capacity for learning. 2. Continuous learning. When life is prioritized like that of successful people, choosing what matters most and eliminating the excess, many believe they've found the key to success. Yet optimizing time is essential, but the quality of thinking determines how far one will go. To keep thinking sharp, learning must never stop. A truth few recognize: the wealthiest and most successful individuals are obsessed with learning. They don't learn once and quit. They learn every day, nonstop, treating it as their lifeline in a constantly changing world. Warren Buffett, the investing icon and one of the world's richest people, once stated, "Knowledge has a greater rate of return than money." He spends 80% of his day reading, avoiding pointless meetings and long calls, because he knows knowledge is an asset no one can steal. Bill Gates is similar. He reads around 50 books annually, enough to build his own mini university. What's impressive isn't just the number, but his serious commitment to learning. Even after being the richest man, he dedicates hours weekly to history, science, psychology, and personal development. If the world's top performers keep learning daily, you should too. Too busy is just an excuse. The real issue is commitment. Once learning shifts from "if there's time" to a matter of survival, daily life transforms. Start small. In the morning, replace music playlists with valuable podcasts like The Tim Ferriss Show or How I Built This, where entrepreneurs share real journeys. Before sleep, swap mindless scrolling for a chapter of a book. Initially dry, but eventually a quiet ritual to recharge mentally. Even on the busiest days, spend just 10 minutes on a short online course, writing skills, financial thinking, or communication. Each lesson is a puzzle piece, and over time, they build a solid foundation of knowledge. Your only limit is what you don't know. Elon Musk taught himself rocket science through books and deep dives into unfamiliar topics. No formal school or teachers needed. When facing a problem, he digs to the root until he fully understands it. That mindset built SpaceX into a symbol of aerospace innovation. Success isn't for those who wait to be taught, but for those who actively seek answers. If you feel left behind today, it's not due to lesser intelligence, but because learning stopped too long ago. Whether 20 or 50, entrepreneur or office worker, learning a little each day can change life beyond imagination. Knowledge doesn't arrive instantly. It comes one page, one word, one moment of listening at a time. With patience, you become unbeatable, wielding the strongest weapon, understanding. Once learning is a daily habit, another door opens. Thinking like a leader, seeing further, deciding faster, and daring to think big. 3. The power of the morning. After mastering the art of prioritizing effectively and nurturing the mind through continuous learning, an important realization dawned. Life's most significant transformations don't arise from sudden leaps, but from small habits, consistently repeated each day. And there's one habit that, despite its simplicity, is truly mastered by very few: the way we commence our mornings. Many once belonged to the group that would repeatedly snooze the alarm, delaying the start of the day. Excuses about lingering tiredness would lead to a rushed and disoriented beginning. The result? An entire day spent in reaction mode, feeling drained and perpetually chasing something just out of reach. In reality, this experience is quite common. Most individuals often begin their day with a few extra minutes of sleep. However, those seemingly innocent minutes can trigger a cascade of procrastination, akin to trying to drive a car with an empty tank. No matter the effort, progress is impossible. Successful individuals, conversely, approach the start of their day with a completely different mindset. They don't allow life to dictate their direction. Instead, they seize control right from the morning. The routine of Oprah Winfrey, a towering figure in American media, offers a compelling example. Her mornings aren't filled with phone calls or emails, but with meditation, gratitude journaling, and cultivating a positive appreciation for life. This isn't merely a spiritual practice, it's her way of reconnecting with her core values daily. Elon Musk, navigating the relentless demands of technology and innovation, has his own distinct morning ritual. He dedicates the early hours to tackling the most critical emails, leveraging his sharpest mental acuity and peak energy levels. For him, morning is prime decision-making time, not for aimless scrolling or checking trivial messages. These examples prompted deep reflection in many. They recognized that gaining control over their lives required taking command of their mornings. Experimenting with small changes began, and these seemingly minor adjustments yielded unexpected results. Each morning, 5 minutes are dedicated to meditation. No phone, no wandering thoughts, just focusing on breath and posing a simple question: how do I want to live today? This is followed by a few minutes of stretching or a light walk around the house, awakening the body and clearing the mind. Finally, and crucially, a notebook containing personal goals and reasons for living is opened. These are reread, not as a forced exercise, but as a reminder of the initial motivations. Remembering the why provides the strength to persevere even when fatigue sets in. The truth is, there's no need to adhere to the 4 a.m. wake-up call often suggested in self-help literature. Many don't. Everyone has their own natural rhythm. The key isn't the time of waking, but the consistency and intentionality of a morning routine that aligns with individual needs. For many, the power of mornings lies not in their duration, but in their quality. Just 15 to 20 minutes of intentionally priming the mind sets the stage for a more focused, effective, and smoother day. Remember, the morning is the only segment of the day entirely within your control. Afterward, life will present a barrage of challenges, tasks, messages, emails, and deadlines. Without using those early moments to recharge and set your course, you risk being swept away unknowingly. For clearer evidence, consider individuals like Tim Cook, Apple's CEO, who wakes up at 3:45 a.m. daily for exercise, email correspondence, and mental preparation for leading one of the world's largest corporations. This isn't driven by a desire to try harder, but by the understanding that a lack of control in the morning can derail the entire day. This underscores the belief that building a great life begins with intentional mornings. While external events throughout the day are often beyond our control, our mindset as we face them is not. This is a key lesson learned after years of self-improvement. Morning has transformed from a dreaded, sluggish period into a source of peace, strength, and clear direction for the entire journey. If feelings of being lost and uncertain about life arise, the answer may not lie in drastic changes. Instead, consider waking up a little earlier, slowing down, and deepening your mornings. From one small change, many have rebuilt their entire lifestyles.
4. Purposeful networking. After learning how to prioritize the right things, continually invest in self-growth, and start each day with purpose, I thought I had enough tools to go far. But then I hit a plateau. Not due to a lack of knowledge, motivation, or time, but because I lacked companions. You can be a lone warrior, but no one builds an empire alone. I realized there was an invisible yet incredibly powerful asset: relationships. And it's not just about knowing someone. It's about building purposeful, deep connections that provide real value. I used to think networking was about casual exchanges, handing out business cards, connecting on Facebook, or commenting in online seminars. But the truth is, your network is your net worth. A familiar saying, but the further I've gone in my career, the more I understand its depth. Take a look at the real billionaires. They don't just know a lot of people.
They invest time and energy into building strategic relationships, connections that bring long-term value not only to themselves but also to the other parties involved. Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group, is a living example. He didn't build a conglomerate of over 400 companies just with ideas or money. What made Virgin is his ability to form and sustain meaningful relationships with talented partners, loyal employees, and strategic collaborators. In his autobiography, Losing My Virginity, he shares how the right relationships opened doors that seemed impossible, from starting an airline to investing in space technology. I began asking myself, what about me? How many truly valuable relationships have I created? How many people in my network challenge me to grow, support me when I face difficulties, or simply inspire me to keep going? The answer was sobering. I had spent too much time connecting with people who made me comfortable, but who didn't help me go any further. I had networked just to appear busy, rather than seeking genuine resonance, and I knew I had to change. So I started over, with intention. Instead of shallow networking, I chose deep connections. I sought out communities that shared my interests, places where I could learn, contribute, and grow alongside others. This could be an entrepreneurial group on LinkedIn, an investment book club, or even a group focused on effective living habits. Not every space fits, but the right ones are incredibly valuable. I also learned to seek mentors, people who don't necessarily have to be official teachers, but those who have been ahead of me, share the same values, and are willing to point out blind spots in my journey. Conversations with them, whether just 10 minutes over Zoom or a heartfelt message, have provided me with perspectives that cannot be found in books. For example, a mentor who works as a product development director at a tech company in Seattle once told me, "Don't just look for people who are better than you. Find people who, when you're around them, force you to become a better version of yourself." That statement completely shifted how I chose my companions. And perhaps most importantly, I learned to become someone worth connecting with. A relationship can't only revolve around what do I get out of it. It must begin with the question, how can I help? There was a time when I proactively helped a friend in the startup community rewrite his pitch deck, expecting nothing in return. A year later, he introduced me to an angel investor, who later became my right hand in my first startup project. I also slowly began to realize that not everyone needs to stay in your life. But the right people, they should be kept with sincerity, gratitude, and a proactive effort to nurture that relationship. Look at names like Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. He once said, "The fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already the way you want to be." And that is what I am striving for every day. If you feel stuck, lonely, or lack a push to reach the next level, don't look for it in solitude. Look for it in connection. But not shallow connections. Rather, relationships built on sincerity, clarity, and clear direction. You don't need to be extroverted, a great communicator, or have top-notch presentation skills. You just need a genuine heart, a mind eager to learn, and the initiative to find the right people. And once you build a purpose-driven network, you no longer walk alone on your development journey. You have people to learn from, to mirror, to accompany you, and perhaps even lift you when you fall. I used to think that I had to go it alone to prove myself. Now I understand growth doesn't lie in how far you can go alone, but in who you can go with, to go farther for longer. And that's why I'm gradually moving into a new chapter, where I realize that successful people aren't just great at networking. They also have the ability to keep themselves on track with a quiet strength. That strength is personal discipline.
5. Don't fear failure. Use failure as fuel. After I began building truly meaningful relationships, those who inspired me, challenged me, and walked with me, I started moving faster. But then, life tested me once again. Not through ignorance or isolation, but through something everyone fears, yet is the greatest teacher: failure. You know what? There was a time I thought failure was the end.
A failed project, an idea rejected, an investment that didn't pay off, they all made me feel like I was falling into an endless abyss. I scrambled with questions. Is it worth it? Where did I go wrong? Would starting over be better? But then I realized a truth that anyone successful must go through. Failure is not the enemy of success. It's an inseparable part of the journey toward the goal. We're often taught that life is a straight path. Study hard, graduate, work, succeed. But the truth is different. Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about overcoming failure without losing yourself. Look at the people who changed the world. Do they have anything in common? They fell many times, but every fall was a step preparing them to jump higher. Take Elon Musk, for example, a name everyone familiar with tech or entrepreneurship knows. This man has stood on the brink of bankruptcy more than once. After selling PayPal, instead of taking it easy, he used almost all his money to invest in two seemingly crazy dreams, Tesla and SpaceX. There were times when both companies were out of cash. SpaceX failed 3 times in a row to launch rockets, and each launch costs tens of millions of dollars. Many investors pulled out. The press criticized him, but Elon kept going. Because to him, failure wasn't a reason to stop. It was the raw material to refine, improve, and grow. And the result? SpaceX became the first private company to send astronauts to the International Space Station. Tesla became the world leader in electric cars. But without those face-planting moments, would today even exist? Or take another example, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. When Amazon was still young, he wasn't afraid to invest in dozens of ideas, most of which failed. The Fire Phone, the phone Amazon developed, was a bitter failure, costing nearly $200 million and being completely rejected by the market. But Bezos didn't get discouraged, because he understood that innovation always comes with risks. And from those failures, Amazon restructured, learned, and then created hits like Alexa, AWS, the cloud platform that now dominates more than 30% of the global market share. And from them, I learned one thing. Successful people aren't those who never fail. They are those who aren't afraid of failure. I started looking at failure differently, no longer seeing it as shame, but as a lesson. Each time I made a mistake, instead of blaming myself, I asked, what's the lesson here? What have I learned that I didn't know before? And I developed a new mindset. Dare to think big, do big, but with strategy. I no longer take risks blindly. Instead, I calculate the risks, anticipate bad scenarios, prepare mentally for the possibility of failure, but still keep moving forward. Because I know courage is not the absence of fear. It's the willingness to act despite the fear. I remember one time I presented a new idea at a startup competition. After many sleepless nights of preparation, I stood on stage with all my passion. But the judges' reactions were cold. I didn't make it to the next round. The feeling was painful. But then, when I received feedback from one of the judges who said that my idea had potential if executed correctly, I woke up. I went back to the drawing board, improved the product, and a few months later, I successfully raised funds from an angel investor, someone I had met through my newly built network. You see, every failure wasn't the end, but a stepping stone to help me go further. If you feel suffocated by past mistakes, if you've been rejected, failed, or stumbled, take a deep breath, look back, and move forward. Because all of that, if you learn from it, will become fuel to propel you up. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be resilient. Don't let a single setback make you turn back. Let it be the reason you step forward stronger. It is from this resilience that I began to recognize an essential factor that helps me maintain my spirit, stay on track, and avoid losing direction. That is personal discipline.
Thank you for watching the video to the end. If you found value and inspiration from this story, think about the habits you can start applying today to change your life. Billionaires aren't born great. They've honed their craft every single day, and you can too. Start with small steps and simple yet powerful habits. I truly appreciate the time you've dedicated to this video, and I hope you found lessons that could change the direction of your life. Don't hesitate to share your story with us. We are always ready to listen and share your experiences.
If you have any issues or questions you want to address, leave a comment under this video. We will create videos specifically for you. Don't forget to like, share, and comment with your personal viewpoint. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next valuable videos. Together, we will continue to learn and grow. See you in the next videos.